heart attack. Fast, fatal, heart impact. Past painful scars, in fact, I blast tasteful bars and past. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, quite a lot has happened. In the last part, Deku talked to Adam, and he discovered quite a few things. In the last 2 years, Adam, he apparently had a family, and he had a daughter. Now, this was surprising to him. He didn't expect that of Adam. However, then again, he did follow his father's last order. And right now, Adam, yeah, he didn't seem to be mentally insane or out of his fucking mind. However, he did appear to still suffer from some sort of illness. Now, Deku talked to him. He apparently was suffering from hallucinations. And Deku? Yeah. Well, Adam was apparently seeing a Trequarl and suspected one of being on Earth. He thought it may have taken over his advisors, so he killed the ones he thought were possessed. Now, that was what surprised Deku the most. And right now, he's at least working with James to find out if there's a Trequarl on Earth. Over the last week, they've been looking for it, and trying to find any leads or information. And so far, nothing's popped up. They've even looked into the program for, well, the military weapons that could be used against the aliens, since they were investigating Dratex technology, and, well, they were also investigating Trequarl information they had on the Dratex drive. Now, before we do skip that week, we do at least have Deku and Claire, where Claire, she was talking to Amelia, and she would leave the room only to run into Deku. Now, with that out of the way, let's begin there. We do actually remember Claire, she has to close the door and look back down the hallway. Her actually going to see Deku. As the two, they do make direct eye contact. And Deku, he does somewhat just go to freeze for a second before going to walk forwards. And he does at least go to look at Claire. Hi, Claire. Hi. It's been a while. Yeah. So, how have you been? Really? That's all you gotta say? Yeah. Sorry. You left me on Pluto. With Adam. Yeah. Not gonna lie to you. Me and her running like that wasn't exactly planned until we were on Pluto. No, I get it, man. Listen, I'm not mad. Just, if you and her were gonna run, I would have wanted a heads up to help. I didn't know if you would help us out. Besides, you being involved, you would have gotten in trouble. And with the fact that Adam, he was already off his shit, from what I heard, you could have gotten killed. Suspected of helping us, or helping a Trequarl. Yeah, that's not really my problem. That was his. So, what happened to you two out there? Oh, well, you already know about the council, the government out there, and the species I posted online about. Yeah, the entire catalog of species. That thing's pretty hefty. Mm-hmm. And you know how they're supposed to be here next week? Yeah, I've heard a bit about that. So, anyways, I wanted to talk to you because I'm a bit concerned about the Dratex craft outside. What about it? Well, do you know how to pilot it? I do, yeah. Okay. We've been working on something. And because of my ingenuity from the moon base, and whenever I was at least given access to certain resources, I've helped out a bit on it. You have? Yeah. In fact, I was able to convince Adam of letting me work on some of those suits before. And with a few minor improvements and being a bit more in the program, I actually know quite a bit about things. In fact, I wanted to ask about the Drake's craft because I wanted to test it against some new suits. You did. You really think that that's the best idea? Well, considering the fact that we were going to be testing it on Earth, yes. And I was actually a bit more intrigued to know if I could be the one to use it. Yeah, you could, but I think it's going to be pretty difficult. Hmm? What do you mean? Deku going to hold up his left arm. Before he does, going to bring his hand up to his sleeve and going to pull it backwards. And tell her about how, whenever she is connected to the craft, she'll get these. Her is staring down at Deku's arm, as there do appear to be somewhat like puncture scars across his forearm, but there's also some up by his wrist. And there's even a scar in the center of one of his hands. Oh, what is that? Well, the first time you connect into it, it's fucking painful, first off. But I think it does this to make sure that it can get a hold of you. And that you're the proper pilot. Proper pilot? What it does is it latches onto you. Make sure that you have some sort of nervous system. And, well, there's even the thing up by the back of my neck. That was harsh as hell to deal with after a few days. You'll get pretty bad migraines, and, well, you know, there's a weird feeling whenever I do move my hands. Oh, what do you mean? I think it implants something in you so that you can connect in seamlessly next time. At least that's how it's always been whenever I try to fly. Either that, or some of my nerve endings are fucked, and I can't feel them anymore. So be careful with that. Besides, I did fly that thing like hundreds of times. Noted. So, is there anything I should be made aware of? Let's see. On the right, you have weapon systems. In the center consoles, you have targeting systems, and many of the different functions. I believe that some of them are communications, and on the left, you do mostly have some communications, along with even some afterburners and some stuff to actually increase velocity. Do be warned though, it's not easy to get used to. Once you're fully connected to the device, the aircraft, that thing, it feels different. And I mean, more different than the suits. I've been in both. Granted, the suits are based off of that thing, it's still strange. Now, Claire just listened to Deku, and right now she's gonna walk away. Before, she has at least mentioned to him that maybe later they can all grab a drink together and catch up as actual proper friends. And Deku, he doesn't go to smile. Claire, she's trying to, well, not make it obvious, but she's trying to at least be there. Trying to at least resume that friendship they had. Granted, they didn't see her much after the moon base because she got a little bit busy with work. But right now, she's at least trying to change that a bit. She only saw them before they ran off together. And, well, right now, Deku does wonder if she's been okay these last 2 years. Did she get blamed for anything? Did she actually look into things? How much does she exactly know? And that does somewhat eat away at Deku. Before we do have that next week, where the alien races do show up. And right now, we do actually have for Deku. He's currently sitting in an area where the aliens are going to be landing. He knows exactly where he started the beacon at. And right now, we do have whenever there's ships in the higher atmosphere, and smaller pods do actually come down to the planet. And Deku does explain to everybody what's going to be happening, and that what they're about to experience and see is going to be very different. And we do actually have where people are recording and broadcasting the landing from all around the planet, or to everywhere on the planet. Now, we do actually have where a Devrix does come walking out, and Deku, he does is going to bring his hands up and introduce their alien. Now, Deku, he does try to explain to a lot of people as to what's going to be happening. And Deku, he does watch the aliens begin to start, well, walking around the area and inspecting humanity. Now, Deku, he does try to introduce the species here. And we do actually have the aliens who they do actually walk over to Deku and ask him if he can help pass these out. As they do at least go to bring up, through one of their, well, limbs, a large case. And Deku is going to open it to see these small little translator earbuds. Now, Deku, he does go to start handing some of them out, especially to people that everybody does need to pair, if they are to listen. And that right now, they believe that they will try to let people know what to do, and let people understand what some aliens are saying. Now, the world does hear about these species. The Yen krill, from what everybody can see of them, they do have crab-like legs, and their bodies, they do resemble certain scale-like features of reptiles. And that does somewhat surprise people, as there's even the, well, bright orange eyes they do have. Now, everybody they do see the Deedrix, or the Devrix. As a species, it does explain exactly what it can do. It can manipulate and change its body the same way that humans will with the little machines they call nanites. And its original form, it is, well, it's got 4 eyes, 6 arms, and, well, wire-like hair, or steel wire-like hair, with, things on the end. Now, Deku does at least introduce a Lokan, a small beetle-like humanoid that does walk on 2 legs. And everybody they can tell from looking at it, it's a beetle on 2 legs. And then there's the Zero. These aliens, they're a lot weirder. They are very strange. And right now, the Zero, it does look more like a tree. However, it does have 3 limbs and a a see-through body. That's the best way to explain it. It does radiate light and it is translucent. It's basically like looking through, I want to say jello. Now, we do at least have a quad, and everybody they can tell the moment from looking at it, it's a cloud, a ball of gas that's just flying through the air. Now, this is what does surprise everybody. The Etzos were humanoid. Yes, the Devrix, it does have 2 legs, but Etzos, they're almost exactly like humanity except for the fact that they do have horns on their head. And they do at least have, well, telepathic powers. Now, it is somewhat surprising to people. They have many questions. And Deku, he does explain as much as he can. And he does even allow them to know about certain things. He does explain to many people what to do and what not to do. All the species here, they do understand that certain gestures on their planets might be common practice here. And certain things and practices that are held here on Earth, well, they do somewhat seem strange or most likely either insulting or any way to be interpreted on this planet, it could be seen as odd to them. Now, I believe they do start to somewhat understand. And we do actually have on Deku, he actually does turn and introduce his wife, the Queen of the Etzos. Now, this is quite surprising to the aliens. When they first abducted the Zetso, they didn't realize that she was royalty. And the fact is, they're hearing that they may or may not have just abducted a high authority on this planet. So right now, a lot of things are currently being noted down. And Deku, he does this get a look at Amelia. The way he said that, she does have somewhat of a sour face. She doesn't like this plan, but for right now, claiming to be a queen, it will help their case. And her mother, she actually is somewhat enjoying this. She is being able to watch as her daughter takes the place of a queen, and it actually is very exciting to her. Her daughter is in a place she thought she'd see her in if anything ever happened to her brother. And her brother, while he is alive, she's the queen. It's better than what she hoped happened if this ever became the case. And she really tries to think. She wonders what the child will be like. Now, we do actually have on our Deku. Him and Amelia, they do take the aliens inside the manor, and at least have a few people inside waiting. Now, they do go through greetings, and a lot of the scientists here, they are stirring at a few things that the alien representatives have brought with them. And there is actually a doctor holding up what could be best described as something that would go in an organ that intakes oxygen, or whatever that species does use to breathe. Now, the doctor is holding it up and asking about how this does work, and the aliens, they would go on to explain it, along with even a few other technical devices they have with them. And Deku, he is currently in the room, as he does actually try to think. He is a bit on guard, and trying to think about what's going to happen today. Right now, this would be the best spot. Humans and the aliens are all in the same room. Hell, the most important people are here today. So, where's the alien? Now, we do actually have where someone is walking in. And Deku, he does go to turn his head and see a fighter suit. Or, well, the suits, the military, they've upgraded since Deku's left. And Deku's just going to stare at one, as his heart is going to skip a beat for a second, thinking that the alien, it may have possessed a human pilot. So there is that idea to keep in mind. Now, the pilot, they would come walking over, as Deku is staring at the very large suit. And the Devrix, it actually is somewhat looking as the suit is come walking up. It actually having to tilt its head down slightly because of its large height. And this is actually whenever the head of the suit does start to dematerialize. And Deku is going to look up at it. Holy shit, Denki? Oh, hey, a long time no see. Denki going to bring his hand up and wave. As Deku, he does going to just bring his hand up and say not to do that. Oh, sorry if that was rude. No, it is quite alright. We understand that that gesture is a greeting? Yes. Yeah. Anyways, how have you guys been? It's, been years. Yeah, I haven't seen you since I pulled you from that crash. Yeah. Um, how have you been since then? Um, well, it's complicated. Got married. There's a lot more to that. And we found aliens, or they found us actually. Um, how many more pilots are on the premises? A few. In fact, we did even bring extra suits, and one of the aliens, if they're willing to exchange it for some more technology or, well, on-hand tech, then they can. Really? Yeah. There's, I think, two or three spares, free ones. Did you want to get back in the suit and fly around the area to make sure it was clear? Oh, I might need one. All right. I'll see if I can give you the key to it. The key to it? Yeah, there's a certain code or I don't know how it works. They have bands on them. I guess they're scanners, sensor. Uh, Too tech savvy to for me to say anything about it. But congratulations, man. Um, can we talk about this later? Oh, yeah. Now, somebody does tell Denki to straighten up. Pilot. And Deku, he does watch Denki immediately go to just bring his legs together, and go to bring his hand up as the mask does rematerialize. Denki almost thumping himself in the head. However, the mask, it does stop the blow. Now, Deku does watch as he does go to start saluting. And the man, he does tell Denki to, well, go to a different position. And Denki, he does go to try and mess with his body for a second, before he does at least try to settle on what to do. Since it may be rude, it may be rude. Now, Deku, he is just going to watch that. And he is just going to tell Denki to stop. Alright. Now, the aliens they do start to discuss, and they do at least explain some of their technology, which certain humans, they didn't even know was possible. They never thought of the concept. However, the scientists, they do actually have certain devices that would work similarly. However, just less components and, well, just, not as strange. These people, they brought technology that was both somewhat organic and semi. There's even the fact that the Devrix, they did at least bring schematics, or at least things on their own anatomy, that humans would refer to as androids. And they even did bring their own type of AI constructs, or their own forms of superintelligence. Now, a lot of people they were surprised by that, and it was very strange. There are certain members of the Devrix species, they don't work in bodies. And if they may have broken down over time, they've chose to become AI constructs. Other than, well, have a position that would allow them to maneuver and constantly be in motion. Now, it does seem strange. And Deku he does hear the Devrix on the AI construct inform the humans of many things, even expressing that they have a extensive knowledge as to the Devrix and certain information on the Council's database. And that actually is very surprising to Deku, as the person holding it does ask exactly what has been considered rude so far. And the person do go to list off a little bit of things, especially that the salute that Denki did do, bring his hand up over his eye, it actually is an insult to the Zero, because it does seem like they do not want to be in the presence of that person's light. And a lot of people, they do go to look back at Denki, as Denki, he is just going to look away. And they do even go to start listing off a few of the things that the people sitting at the table have already done. Now, there actually was another one woman, she did hear that she did bring up her okay sign to a coworker of hers. And that was actually whenever Deku, he did someone go to laugh. He didn't even realize she did that. Now, this is actually where Deku, he does at least start to explain a few other things, expressing about what he's going to be currently doing. As Deku, he just going to walk away, as the people in charge, or on the human side of the negotiations and the exchange, they do start to talk about how they do have information on the Dratex technology. And they do also at least have information on the Traqual weapons that they believe that the Etzos have developed and began to mass produce. And the people on the council, or their representatives, they're actually quite intrigued by that. They know that from what the human has said, 2 Traqual have died on Earth, and it didn't even result in a casualty. Now, it was kind of surprising. However, Deku, yeah. He does know that they're more interested in the fact that someone survived possession. And so far, their activity or their body's reaction and adaptation has been somewhat strange. And Deku, he does actually somewhat agree with that. His body has changed a bit, hasn't it? I mean, a glow, increased mental powers, hell, sometimes he feels good. Way too good. Now, Deku doesn't think. His eyes glow in the dark. He can somewhat see in the dark. And the fact is, he doesn't know if he can do it, but he once thought he was sticking his arm through himself. It does sound weird or strange, but he just thought it was because he was sick. Maybe it was, well, that fever he had. But that was a long time ago. That was when these symptoms first popped up. These, well, strange adaptations to his DNA. Now, Deku, he does at least try to think back on that. And he's a little distracted. Since, whenever he does get to turn his head back to the negotiations, he does stare at somebody kind of confused. He does know that there were people who were considered to be metas here in the room. And that was kind of apparent whenever a scientist they stood up and they had a tail. And Deku, he does see that there's somebody next to that person. And they're not on fire, but they're certainly glowing. Now, Deku just finds it to be kind of strange. That person wasn't glowing a second ago. Were they just, not using their powers? I mean, shit. Didn't he have like a list or something? Crap, maybe he's gotten a bit lazy with that, but he knows that if they had a power, he would have known. They would have introduced themselves to him. Okay, that's not good. Now, Deku is going to stare at the scientist. As whenever he is looking at them, he is going to somewhat turn his body. And the moment he does actually feel a gaze. The moment him and the scientist do look at each other, the scientist is just going to turn their head and stare at Deku before going to bring up their hand and going to wave at him. Now, Deku is confused, but he does find it to be odd. He can feel it. That's the Trequa. Now, Deku is going to think, as he does go to just wonder. The Devrix craft is outside, and right now, this thing, it's inside. Okay, he wasn't expecting this. Now, Deku, he is going to walk him back over to the table. As whenever he does so, you do actually, whenever he does go to look down at a few things. Him accidentally stepping on the leg of a Devrix as he's going to step forwards. Him going to hold something up. Now, Deku does hold up the barrel of a strange weapon. And Deku is going to look down at it, asking exactly what this thing does. As he is going to at least talk to the scientist. Ah, yes. That is quite simple. Them staring back up at Deku with somewhat of a blank face, and a bit of anger. Alright, show me what it does. Oh, well, that's a bit harder, actually. What it does is it destabilizes matter. And from what we do understand, or humans understand, we believe it does also so happen to mess with the electronic pulse and the radio waves that it does emit. It produces a form of counter-radiation through vibrations. Really. There is a lot of science in there. However, much of it humans are still trying to understand. And, well, engineer. Okay. Good to know. Deku going to at least bring up his hand. And go to flip the gun in his fingers as he does with his, well, finger just above his tiny one. He does have the trigger directly on his finger. Deku going to blast directly in the scientist's chest. And a lot of people do watch as the scientist does go flying backwards and flying 10 feet. Now, they do directly land on the ground. And a lot of people, they do go to stare at that. Many are actually surprised by what Deku did. And some do go to pull weapons. As whenever a man is going to pull a weapon and aim it directly at Deku, Deku, he has to go to at least tell the man, asking if it's lethal to humans. Hmm? Are you insane? Okay, fuck. Okay, are you. This is not what you should have done. Fuck. Besides, the fact that it's insane. Okay, I am clearly not thinking straight because of rage and because of nervousness. Okay, the person going to turn. As a scientist, they do go to sit up, and they do have blue blood running out of their nose. Them someone going to turn and puke. As Deku does go to stare at the person. And everybody they do go to stare directly at him. It works. Now, the scientists they do go to run over, they do directly go to look at the person and see the strange material. As Deku is going to turn to everybody and explain. And that was a demonstration. A Davrix, well, not a Davrix, a Trequa was possessing that scientist. And he just so happened to have the weapon to kill it. That is exactly what it can do. And he does want them to know the same blood that's coming out of that scientist was coming out of him 2 years ago. And that is also proof. Test it against the sample they have of his, since it will be a match. Now, everybody there is somewhat stunned, and we actually have the scientist. They do try to explain. They don't remember what happened. They just have a huge blank in time. That's it. Now, we do actually have for the scientists, they do go to leave. Since they do need to have not only a medical exam done, they do need to see about their current state, since they may or may not have some problems. Now, we do actually have our Deku. He is asked by many people who are here about what exactly that was. And Deku does try to tell them. That was a thing that, quite simply, they need to know. These things, while they do claim to be gods, they are not gods. And, right now, they have allies in humanity. If this tech is distributed through the universe and improved upon, then they can actually mass produce it to a point where they can handle the threats that do come at them. And that is something that a lot of people do go to note. As we go over to Deku, he does go to walk out of the room. And right now, there's somebody outside the room who was listening to everything. Deku going to turn and directly go to see the Queen. Hi. Hello. It's a pleasure to see you. I wish to talk to you in private. Really? Spill it. Ah. Do you love my daughter? Yes, I do. Why? Why do you care for her? Why do anything for her? I understand all that you've done. However, do you truly care for her? What type of question is that? That is my baby girl. That is my daughter. She's always been kind and naive. However, ever since she took this assignment on Earth, she has been changing. She has her own responsibilities. And currently, my baby girl has grown up. I do understand already what you do. However, I also do understand what she does and how she is. So, tell me in actual reasons to why you do love her. Why do you care for her? And what your reasoning behind this union of yours? Really? Yes, I want an actual answer. I still want you executed. However, now that I've given up my power as the queen, I can't fulfill that exact order. I have just as much authority as somebody on our little, well, advisor council. I see. Well, your daughter is amazing. She's somebody I truly have found a connection with. My entire life, I've had shit taken from me. I've had parents, I've had friends, I've had people I can genuinely care for. And I just couldn't accept that. I spent so much time trying to find out my own way, trying to deal with things my own way, and trying to live my life the way wanted someone else to. I was living my friend's dream. I was using my powers. I helped as many people as I could doing so. But I still felt angry. I still felt sad. It's a funny thing about grief. You think it goes back and forth between one and the other. However, you do jump all over the place. And, well, it never truly goes away. That's just it, though. There is a way to deal with it, accept it. Your daughter helped me find that. And ever since then, well, life doesn't make sense without her. Is that enough for you, Alice? Because I can continue. I can explain certain things that you don't even know about her. And I'm sure I can at least tell you some of the problems she's hidden from you. And even certain things that she has talked to me about that she hasn't even confided in you about. We can continue. Well, that was very, very heartfelt. And genuine. I know whenever somebody, they're lying to me. I worked for quite a long time on that. And, well, I'm happy to know that this is real. However, just because I will allow this and no longer see it to that you are executed, I still will keep an eye on you. If you step out of line and hurt her, or, God forbid, kill her, I will make your existence a never-ending hell. And I will show you certain things that we do whenever we have to get information. Certain things that our species has had to resort to in the past. And I do hope that you understand. Hurt her, and you will no longer be able to take care of yourself with your own body. And you will be nothing more than somebody who will rot away. And your mind will be long gone before you are physically able to disappear. Well, it's a good thing I know her better than you do. So it looks like I won't step out of line. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to sweep the area. I gotta know exactly if we have more Traquaw. And Alice, just so you know, your son wasn't entirely crazy. There was one in the room. However, he still lost it. Go see him, talk to him, and consult him on this. Have a good use of your time, since you are no longer in a position to do anything. Now, they're just going to walk away. And Alice, she actually is somewhat quite relieved. She was worried that her son did lose it. He was crazy. She didn't believe him. And right now, it does annoy her. She wanted to understand him. However, those paranoid delusions he had, up until the time he did it, that's something that she does remember. Her son was fully convinced on this. However, he had no evidence and no real way to back it up. All he had was just the idea of it, because it's happened before. And there was the fact that he himself started to get gaps in his own memory. Now, it does somewhat concern her. Her son was overwhelmed, and he just lost track of time. Is that all that could have it been? That's all she believed it to be. But there's more now. More she can start to understand. Now then, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.